This is KT.
And this is Carrah,
Welcome to Life and the Party.
your unofficial guide to growing up and having fun. Just dripped a little beer in your bed.
I don't sleep on that side.
We're in Katie's bed, by the way, at my place / the podcast studio. We're eating pizza.
Yes.
We have no time.
None at all. Because we've been hanging out in
Atlanta.
the dirty South.
I was going to say because we've been working, but
That too. Jesus. Ow. Ow. Jesus. Ow. That also hurt. Call the cops.
yeah, but that probably helped.
Hopefully. Yeah. No, but we've been hanging out, working, doing fun stuff. I'm on a little Southeast tour, making Atlanta one of my prime stops to hang out with Carrah and everybody else here, which has been so fun. Did so many cool things. I'm having a great time.
What's your favorite thing you've done so far?
I think my favorite thing we've done so far was Friday night. I thought that was a really fun time where we just all went out for that cute cocktail before. We had a really nice Italian dinner together. And then we just linked up with some more people and had just kept on going and going to all the little bars.
Went to 4 different places, I think.
We were at SOS first, the tiki bar, with a bunch of people.
But it was nice, picking up different people along the way.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
And we had lots of different vibes. We went tiki to Italian to fancy racehorse cocktail bar to dive bar. And then we were just very walkable, very fun, very just sort of out and about. It was a nice.
It was really fun.
Bouncy evening, which I like.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, what about you?
I mean, I think Friday night was definitely my favorite. What did we do Saturday? Oh, that was the music festival day. That was not my favorite day because it's a long story. Honestly, I don't really want to get into it, but the festival that we were supposed to go to got canceled from the rain, but they didn't post anything about it. And it did rain a lot, but it was for an hour and then it stopped and it was perfect weather. So we continued walking there, and then when we got there, closed. And that was what we kind of planned our whole evening around. But the band that we were going to see, Susto, was very gracious, and they ended up knowing someone, I think, who owns a bar here in Atlanta, and I think they said they went there for food, and then the guy offered them to set up their music and play in the bar, which is
a little pop-up.
But it was really fun. But we made it there. It was just a very eventful, exhausting day.
We kept bouncing around. Then we between the two, we went to a gay bar, then to get pizza. Then it's oh my god, the concert's gonna start in 45 minutes. We gotta eat and get across town. And we missed a little bit of it, but at least got to see most of it, which was very nice. But it was also nice seeing some other friends we haven't seen in a hot minute that day too. Every day was new people coming in and out, which was really nice. So shout out to all y'all for being real ones.
Yeah, we don't want to name names because we'll forget someone, but we saw college friends who do not live in Atlanta and who do live in Atlanta. And
new Atlanta friends.
Who else? I feel there was someone. And then our Charleston friends. We had Charleston friends come in on 2 different days. It was a lot, but it was fun.
Busy bees.
Yeah. And at the same time, I have kind of a new role at work, so that's busy too.
And I also do. It's not working right now. So.
But you literally have been working.
True, I have been working. Yes, I'm on vacay.
She's an overachiever.
I know, that's what everyone says about me. I think it's the first word out of their mouths is KT is an overachiever. But Atlanta's been amazing, and I'm so grateful that I could come and hang out. It's been so fun. I love you. Thank you for hosting me.
Oh, I love you too. You're welcome. Even though Katie was shitting on our pull-out bed that we have, that guest stand.
You asked for an honest feedback.
I know, but no, I'm pissed. No, I'm just kidding. No, now I know I can get a new bed, but the only thing is Ryan's parents are coming literally tomorrow.
Wait, really?
I just found this out yesterday,
Oh, wow.
which is great, but Katie's been here for like 4 days and our other friend was here. And so now I have like a very quick turnover to get the room ready.
Mhm.
And I also found out that the bed sucks.
It's just got a little lump in one section. I've been fine on it.
A lump or the opposite of a lump?
It's a depression.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our bed is depressed.
It's really sad.
Honestly, not my fault. It's all my guests' fault. So
Mhm.
I'm going to make a list and send them something. I'll send a Venmo request. Hey, Sleepy. At some point in time, you slept in our pull-out couch.
If you want to stay in it again,
We're requesting how much?
I have no clue how much a pull-out couch is. Could you get a new
I think
mattress?
I could probably just get a new mattress, or it's structural in like the frame.
Yeah. But I've been so tired that I just go, whoop.
And then she just sinks into her little hole.
I do. I kind of sleep like a little ball. Or diagonally. Which also helps maneuver around the depression, I think. Mental depression. I'm just kidding. Physical lump. It's not a lump, though.
It's a concave.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, but is that better or worse than depression?
Depression, I feel like is a little vague.
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 I thought you knew I said bag.
You don't say bag.
I was just trying to pull a spatter on you.
Shut the fuck up. Ain't nobody can pull spatter on me. Not when I got my cider right next to me, too.
Yeah, that you probably don't say sadder.
I don't drink ciders.
Oh my god. Okay. Today's episode is going to be like a little advice column.
Yes.
So maybe like a month ago, we reached out on, I think it was my personal Instagram, and just asked if anyone had anything that like they were seeking advice on. And then we posted again today to get some more questions. And then I think Katie prepared like a few other talking points for us to hit on about advice.
Yes.
Yeah, she did. So what do you want to do first?
We start about some general thoughts on advice.
Okay.
Applications.
Okay.
You know, sort of like a 101 for advice. And then we'll jump into actual advice. Let me pull up my questions. I didn't memorize them because I'm bad. All right. So, general thoughts on advice. When are times and who do you go to when you want advice? I feel like that's a big question on like how you ask for it, is who do you talk to and what situations lend you to wanting to listen?
I feel like things that I typically need, I would say like present day, something that I've been getting advice on is my job situation. So I'm just in a new role and also a new like phase in life that I haven't been in before, where I'm just navigating what it is that I want to spend my energy on, what it is that I consider to be an investment for my career, and also things in my free time like doing our podcast. Like it is a priority for me. So right now, those are the things that I look for advice on. And I've been getting some solicited and some unsolicited from Ryan, which like he has a lot of knowledge in this area. So that's helpful. But it is already like a bit of an overwhelming situation for me because I have so much to learn that sometimes I don't learn the best like from how he communicates. So that's why I don't solicit so much advice from him, but I do solicit it from him. And so I try to look, I ask people who are like experts in whatever I need help in, right? So like this current situation is like a more technical job, so I'm asking him. And like you were helping too. Katie gave me welcomed advice for sure. Like you and I obviously communicate. Like we have like a language that we speak, you know? So that helps. But like Ryan's good, and Ryan's good with like in general like career stuff, just because he hasn't even like had that many different jobs, but he just has like a very like level-headed way of thinking about things. And he's really good at offering, honestly, he's really good at giving advice on most things. He has like a talent for being on like the outside of a situation and being able to give advice really well.
He's very thoughtful about how he says it,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So that's someone and a situation. And also you. Like I feel like I look to you for advice. And like I've talked to my friend Shan about job stuff. Like I just feel like she's very proficient in like career growth and like how to operate the corporate world, and she's a woman, and like, you know, I prefer getting career advice from women just because our experiences are different, you
Mhm.
know. But other than that, my therapist.
Yes, therapy is advice. I was going to talk about that
Yeah,
too.
I ask honestly, like I started to think the other day, I was like, do I just use her as like an advice, like getting advice? Like I find myself often like explaining situations to her and telling her how I interpret it, and then like getting her perspective. Is I don't know how everyone uses therapy, but like sometimes,
I feel like that's a part of it. I feel like
yeah,
some therapy can be more like
it obviously,
foundational, but you don't
yeah.
know how you apply certain things until you see them in scenarios.
And it all most of the time comes back to me, right?
Mhm.
It's like I'm telling her about a situation, and then she's like, "Oh, and like maybe you felt this way because of this,"
Mhm.
or how did that make you feel? Why did it make you feel that way? Yada 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 yada. We'll get into therapy later, but I feel like I just talked a lot, but hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it answered the question.
Mhm. What about you?
I would say something pretty similarly job related things right now because they are all up in the air with everything. That and sort of like life movement, like redirection, like sort of now that things are changing, like what's next and sort of how to like find the best way through all of that, which means I get a lot of advice from my therapist on just like how to emotionally regulate. I don't know if that's the right therapy word for this, but like how to handle things without being so intense about them all the time. I'm a very intense person if you know me, know me. But that can also lead to other things. So I definitely look to her, um, Carrah, because I feel like the way you prioritize a lot of things in your life is very, I want to say sensical, but that sounds not. It sounds weird.
Is very okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like she doesn't. It's fine. No, but like how she chooses priorities, I think is very in what she.
Maybe I'm balanced
Yeah, yeah, and how
and
you
intentional.
exactly the intentionalness. That's the big one. Intentional because I can be so go with the flow, kind of just comfortable that I think most of my advice is sort of geared to being more intentional about lots of things and shying away from the comfortability that I like to just sort of sit in and vibe with.
Yeah.
So definitely therapist, you. I talked to Daniel about a lot of pragmatic stuff, and my brother is a good one too, also
Mhm.
pragmatic, but they're also men, so it's a little bit different getting advice from them
Yeah.
because it's very from their perspective, which in certain ways is totally fine.
Can be extra helpful,
Oh
and then in
yeah.
some ways I think as long as like you feel understood
Mhm.
by a man and whatever you're bringing to them,
Mhm.
if you feel understood by them and then they offer you advice, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's great." And I got another perspective. I feel like sometimes it can be like if you feel like they don't understand where you're coming from
Mhm.
and then they try telling you what to do and then you're like, "You don't really get it."
Yeah. I do think it's easier to talk to women about a lot of things because of lived experience. So I would say those two, and every once in a while, my mom and dad,
Yeah.
but they're parents, so I don't ask them for advice on a lot of stuff.
I've when I ask my mom for advice, it's like if shit is really hitting the fan.
Mhm.
Like my really bad situations. But that's because also I know she will like in the worst situations like calm me down.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you have a question that's going to get to this, but I will say that like I don't like to ask for advice on things that like I know 100% I should be able to do myself.
I'm the same way.
I'm not someone who is like asking someone every single day like what they think I should do in this situation. What should I buy this thing? Like I'm just not that kind of person because I'm very decisive. that like the moment I think I know what decision I'm gonna make, I will probably make it. But I'm not impulsive. I'm just
Mhm.
decisive. So that, and then also like people who I don't ask advice for are people who I feel like are judgmental, inexperienced, or like just not super wise. Like I'm not going to someone who's not wise for
Asking for
advice.
advice is very serious. It's not
Yeah.
just like oh, we're friends and we're hanging out. Like
Yeah.
it's very I'm trying to move and grow. I have to kind of respect your decisions and things in that realm too before I talk to you about it. Doesn't mean I don't like to listen. I love hearing people's opinions on things, but the question is will I take what you're saying? Yes or no? Um
And I hate listening to people's opinions on things.
I do. Then I just go home and I'm like, huh? I think perspective is very important for a lot of things, but I do agree that I don't like taking advice on lots of things. But I think not necessarily because I know I should know the answer, but I think that I make myself think for everything I should know the answer. It's a little bit hard for me to sort of ask for advice in the first place because I feel like I should be able to handle everything kind of on my own in some way. So
That's
like to
interesting.
an extreme of what you said, but also like I don't every once in a while I'll text someone about clothes or something like that. But like I just usually buy it, and then be like, look what I bought. What do you think? Or something like that. But I think sometimes I probably should ask for advice.
I want to hear more about like you thinking that you should know everything already because I don't feel that way. I definitely don't think like I should know everything. I think I do. Like I'm not an overthinker really, and I'm pretty decisive. And I feel like in my head, like my operating system is like wasting a lot of time on making a decision. To me, just is like so big that I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, maybe to a fault sometimes, but like to me, it's not that I think I should figure everything out. To me, it's like time is wasted when you're wasting time trying to figure out what decision to make. So just make a decision. And it's often I give advice to people that like most things are not permanent. If it's permanent, that's, not something we're talking about. But like if you're trying to make a decision on like moving somewhere, doing something like picking a job or going on a trip with somebody or whatever, like most of the time I'm like, it's like not a permanent decision or you're going to learn something out of it and you're going to have like a good time. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of it's about attitude. But I want to hear more from you about like why you feel like you shouldn't ask for advice.
It's not that I shouldn't, it's that when maybe I should. I think it's more about timing. Like I feel like sometimes I don't consider things for a little bit, then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of overwhelmed. Let me try to figure it out. But I'm already at that point of like being overwhelmed, but I still haven't processed my thoughts to like talk to someone about it yet because I don't know how I really
Because
feel.
you're avoiding it.
Yeah, I'm an avoidant, classically. Classical avoidant, not classically avoiding things.
Classical music.
But it's not necessarily through like I think sometimes it could be because I just don't know if I want to know the answers or not at that time. Sometimes I just am not focused on it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, or something happens where I'm like, oh, maybe I should be rethinking all of these things, or I'm at a crossroads, and I think that's why I'm going back to therapy to sort of like figure out some more of these things. But I think I generally ask for advice, but maybe it's not so targeted in like an actual application of said advice. It's more like general advice of how I should be like generally living my life in certain ways, but not like, oh, should I move or should I do this thing? Until I'm like at that point where I think maybe my answer is already made up, but I need validation. Versus like in the
Interesting.
thought process, the process of the advice, it's more like
So you prefer validation rather than advice. That makes sense. If your focus is validation because that's why you're not asking for advice.
mhm. I think that might be part of it, but I feel like maybe I need to ask advice as I'm going through this thought process
Totally.
sometimes. So I think that's part of me just being like, I don't know.
Well,
Again, that's why I'm in therapy to figure some of these things
yeah,
out.
that's a good thing
But
to
I think
be
that's
aware
part
of.
of it. Like I think a lot of people don't necessarily ask advice because either they know the answer, they don't want someone to tell them what to do, and it feels, like I think sometimes I feel like I'm influenced by when I talk to people. Like, so I'm very like I don't say people pleaser sometimes, but
But we
kind
should
of.
that brings us back to the point of like you only ask for advice from people who you respect, and we should be influenced. Like it is uncomfortable to like hear someone say something that you're like, one, why didn't I think of that? Or two, like, do I really want to do that? Like, yeah, that's uncomfortable, but like it's the only way you experience growth. And I feel like a small example of that is I was on a walk with my friend Shan, and I was talking about like I was like, I've always had this like struggle to find a mentor. Like I think it's partly like a character flaw of mine that I don't really associate people's success in their career with being someone who should be my mentor. Like the people who I respect most are usually people who have very specifically aligned like passions of mine, or I see them as like genuinely good people at their soul, or they've overcome something very difficult. Like those are the people who I usually respect the most and would like look at as a mentor. And I feel like I had one who was Dr. Tonkin. He was the Tigers for Tigers faculty advisor at Clemson, and he passed away. But like he was someone who I considered a mentor, even though we didn't do the same kind of work. But I was talking to her about, I was like, yeah, I don't have one. I don't really know like who I should pick as one. And she was like, well, can you think of like people you've had in your past who've been really supportive of you at work? And I thought of somebody and I was like, well, her, but like I haven't talked to her in a couple months, like several months, and I don't want to come to her with my problem, is how I felt. Coming to her being like, hey, I need advice on like this career situation. And she's like, no. She's like, you should talk to her. It doesn't matter what you think she might say to you. You don't know what she's going to say to you. And like that unknown, instead of being like uncomfortable, should be like, that could be like a little nugget of gold. Whether it's like a contact she could introduce me to, or just like the most simplest piece of advice or motivation that could get me through the next month. And like that is advice that I would probably typically give to somebody else. But in that moment, I hadn't considered it. And then she told me that. And I was like, right after, I was like, damn, I should have known that. Like, I should have known. But sometimes, like, when you're in like a moment of like where you're lacking clarity, like your judgment and everything gets clouded. And then you start to like doubt things a little bit. And that I think was an example of me doing that. And it felt a little uncomfortable to hear her say that because afterwards I was like, duh, I should have known that. And I feel like at one point I did know that, but I wasn't thinking about it.
I think people think that not just about their career, about just like general advice in general.
Exactly.
Like I feel like I should know this.
Well, that was my example of like, that's how I felt. And yeah, but you can apply it to like anything.
Yeah. And I think it's like a sureness in your
reassurance.
No, a sureness.
Oh,
a decisive
sureness. I thought you were saying one word. Assureness.
Assureness. Fuck it, it's a word now. Come at me. Dictionary.com.
Yeah. All that to say, you do not always have to know anything, and life is hard, and don't go to like 17 people for advice, but pick like a few people who you really trust and you feel like they're not going to judge you and they're going to be honest with you and they're going to be supportive and they might follow up with you. Like that's honestly the best kind of friend and like person to go to for advice. So
yeah, I agree.
We're going to end the episode there.
Perfect. All right, you're done. Bye. See you later. Just kidding. There's always more advice.
Just kidding. We have about 3 more hours in this episode, you guys.
Don't tell me that. I have to edit this.
JK.
No, but I agree with you. It's a vulnerability to ask for advice with people because I think sometimes it can lead to questions you might not know you need to answer or something you're not quite ready to confront. It could cause all these sort of like more thoughts. So I think that's why like for some people, maybe me, I was like, I kind of ask when I feel like I know what I want and that I know it's right instead of just like being there through the process. Because part of making these decisions or getting advice is like how you get there. And again, I don't know everything. Maybe I do
Yeah.
need to be asking more people about stuff.
Yeah.
And instead of just sort of like internalizing it all.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, life's way too hard to like internalize things that
everything.
you're struggling and things that you're struggling with. You know when you're struggling with something. Everybody has like a different tolerance and like different things that kind of like trigger them to feel very overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just important that like you talk to people about those things and you don't ever like no one ever gets through life on their own.
No.
Like you are constantly helped by like people around you, by strangers, by luck, all these things. So,
Make your support system be that for you.
yeah.
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 We're pro asking for advice. We just all
Yeah.
see it differently. And all again, just ask. If
Just
anything,
ask.
what do you think? Sometimes I feel like I would be like embarrassed asking questions sometimes. You know,
Don't be embarrassed.
I know, but it's just sort of like it's a vulnerability thing. I
Yeah.
think. And that's a big part of it.
I think it's a fear of being judged always.
Mhm.
Like even like in work meetings when you're like scared to ask a question, you're like, are they going to think I'm an idiot if I ask this? And it's like, just ask. If someone did think you were an idiot for asking that, they'll think that for about 2 minutes and then they're going to move on with their life because everybody else has another life to get to after they stop working.
Or if your friends or siblings are asking them for advice, they're probably be like, "You dummy."
Yeah.
This. And then again, you're back to normal. So we're pro asking for advice.
Yeah. We're not anti yet.
Not yet until something happens. But
Okay, we had people write in and ask for advice, and we're going to get started on going through some of those questions. So this is like a longer relationship situational thing. This person initially said, how much attention do I give a man I'm talking to? LOL. This is from a woman. So I asked for more context because obviously you need more context to that. So this is the context. He sucks at texting, but is great at in-person words of affirmation. He recently had a quote hoe phase and is still talking to other people from the dating apps, although he has recently cut it off with a handful of people. I think that part's irrelevant. He got out of a 6-year relationship around 7 to 8 months ago. He said he's wanting to, quote, find something more stable, but am not sure if that means he will actually want to date, parentheses, me or anyone. I just helped him drive out of town to get a new car. His old one had a sudden major issue, and he was very grateful for that. If you have any further questions, I'm not afraid to spill the tea. I'm personally looking for a committed relationship. I also haven't been in a relationship for over 3 years. I'll let you share your thoughts first.
what was the main question again? Now that
How much attention do you give a man you're talking to?
I think it comes down to how much attention you're getting from them. I feel like, especially in the very beginning, I'd want to know their intentions about me assuredly in some way. Like if they're
Is this enough intention to know though? He said he wants to, quote, find something more stable.
I mean,
If a guy said that to you, what would you think?
I don't know what that means. Doesn't mean anything to me. It
Would
means
you
they
be
don't want to
okay with
be
that?
a hoe to me. It means the kind of like they want something was like, do they want to find their life partner? What I mean, does it match what you want? Do you just want to be stable right now and find someone to hang out with? Then sure, that might be okay. But the fact that he's not texting as much to you, like outside of it, obviously you don't need to be texting 24/7, but
So how much attention do you give him? Like give me a scenario of like how you would be communicating with him.
I would be communicating only if we were like actively still going on regular dates. Like if we are still hanging out and seeing each other every week, it's like leading to something, then yes. But if it seems like those aren't happening,
Stop. Katie keeps touching my toes.
if those aren't happening and you feel like you're being ignored too, because she sounds like she's feeling like she's being ignored or not prioritized in some way, and that seems unfair if you want something more. General thoughts, can commentary off of yours once you say something. Carrah's really good with boy advice.
I think okay, and I want to be clear, not because I've always made the right decisions. I think I'm better with boy advice because I've made lots of wrong decisions. So, personally, I don't agree with giving them the amount of attention that they give you. I do think if you're wanting to date somebody, you want a serious committed relationship, and you are in the talking stage with somebody, I would not be giving, I'm not a texter. And like when I was dating Ryan, like I wasn't trying to text him all day long and like give him all this attention because I'm like, I'm not texting a guy unless like we're for sure dating and in like a relationship because I don't even really like texting anyone that much. So I would say like I do agree with he needs to be taking you on dates. If you are looking for a serious committed relationship, don't be texting him about anything other than the logistics to plan a date. And if he can't do that, stop talking to him, period. That's my advice. And the helping him drive out of town to get a new car, while that is very nice of you, I would not have done that. Actually, when I was younger, I maybe would have done that. But my advice now is not to do that. Like, don't do nice. I think so many times women get in situations where because we're kind and because we want to help and because we care about people, usually on like a deeper level than most men do, like we want to do nice things for them. And it's like, you can't waste your energy somewhere where it's not going to be reciprocated, especially in a talking phase. But I think we answered that one, so we can go on
Yeah.
to the next. Do you want to?
You can read it to me and I'll answer first.
Okay. How do you find a significant other while working full time and still trying to find time to be with your friends?
Oh, I mean, you have to make it like a super priority. Dating is kind of like a job, especially if you want it. You have to be available to go on dates, be trying to meet new people. If you don't want to invest that separate time, then maybe your best bet is to start being a regular somewhere with your friends where you can meet people. Like, oh, your friends, again, I'm gonna say something cliche like a dumb volleyball league, but your friends do a kickball league, you play some other people, you see them in a space that your friends might also be at.
So take your friends to meet this significant other.
Well, and this is all pre significant other. This is while you're still not knowing who this person is.
That's what I'm saying, to meet them. Like,
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant to like
not,
while you're already
not
together. I'm
take
like, they
them
don't know
on the
them yet.
date. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Katie and I clearly don't speak the same
But
language.
I mean, I think that's a good one. But also, are you hanging out with your friends every day? Maybe make Tuesday and Wednesday date night as options and go on dates with people then.
I would say just reserve one day a week to go on a date.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also not a fan of like when you start dating someone, you see them like, oh, I went on a date last week and I really liked him. So now we're going on like 2 more dates this week. I just think that's not a great expectation to set for yourself because then I find that a lot of people then start making everything about that person. And then whenever the relationship doesn't work, they're like falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say like ease into dating. Also, I think guys like if you're not super available and desperate to hang out with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just pick one night a week that you can reserve for going on dates or going to meet somebody or whatever however you want to find them. Because you do have to take some time away from something. Like
You can't
you
all gas, no breaks a relationship.
yeah, yeah. Well, like if most of your time is spent working and with friends and you can't really take any time away from working, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take like a day away from your friends, which also is healthy because you don't have to be with your friends every single day.
And have a day for yourself too.
Yeah.
Add that in there too.
If that's important to you.
I
I'm
mean,
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, next question. Getting out of plans.
how to bail?
Yeah, how to bail 101.
I don't like bailing. I'm not a big bailer. I don't like to agree to plans and then bail.
So when you are in the mood, when you feel like you need to get out of plans, you just always suck it up and go.
I would say like 90% of the time, yeah. I
Yeah.
would say I generally, unless I am sick or like having a really rough time, I will go because generally those plans will always make me feel better. Like if I'm rarely ever in a situation where I'm like seeing my friends or family won't make me be in a good mood. I guess if I had to bail, I probably would just say like hey, something came up, I just can't
Would you say you would lie?
I mean, not everyone needs to know everything. If you're bailing, you're lying. Do you want me to go
That's not
find?
lying. You could say I'm bailing because I feel
Or you could say I'm
stressed.
yeah, you could say I'm bailing because I
I'm
feel
bailing
stressed.
because I feel like I really would not be like fun to hang out with today. I'm bailing because I have diarrhea.
Yeah. I think it's fine to be honest. I just don't think making that a habit is good. So don't say yes if you know you're very likely.
Katie, don't shame
I'm
our
not
listeners.
shaming.
This person I don't think bails that much. I also am pretty anti-bailing, but I have found myself bailing or like more over the past couple years because I would find that I just ended up leaving things like stressed. Like I would leave things and then I'd be like, "Oh great, now I have no time actually today to do anything that I wanted to do." So I've definitely bailed. Not a lot, but also like I pick and choose like who I'm bailing with. I'm not bailing on like a big thing. I'm
Mhm.
not bailing on someone who I know for sure is going through a hard time. And also I feel like if you're a good friend, you have a little bit more leeway in bailing. If you're
Mhm.
someone who like doesn't really show up that much or put much like take much initiative to do things with your friends and you're bailing,
Mhm.
I think that's bad. I think if you're like always making an effort to like communicate or plan things or coordinate things, you get a little bit of
Mhm.
slack, I think,
You can
on
also
bailing.
offer to reschedule or say, "Hey, can we pivot our dinner date to something in bed so we can
To
relax?"
something in
I
bed
mean,
with your friend
I was thinking like on the couch watching TV. I don't know why I said bed.
because we're in a bed
We're
right
in bed right now.
literally when you so Katie's advice is when you feel like bailing, pivot to an in bed situation.
Just so you're cozy and comfortable. I mean, it's just like if unless it's something major, it could be just like getting coffee with a friend and being like, let's just pivot, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like just communicate.
Okay, I think we got that
Yes.
one.
We can advise for days. Advise for days.
Okay, this is a good one. How do you talk to family and keep relationships with people with different political views? I'll let Katie start.
Yes. I have personal experience with my dad being politically different from me, but not like bad, just like dumb, I guess.
Don't feel like you have to defend it, Katie.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are in this situation. So how do I keep the relationship? I think I just know at the bottom of the heart that my parents love me. And there's also I think firm boundaries in my head that no one's crossed, you know? I feel like things are very intense politically right now, and if someone came out saying that they're I don't know, just something really shitty, like the pro fascism. Like, you have people that are pro that right now. You know, like that might be a really red draw the line where I would not talk to people anymore.
So understanding your boundaries
Understanding your
is a way.
boundaries, accepting that like who you're talking to is probably coming from a odd place that may not want to talk to you about. You know, like a lot of people have different perspectives, especially our older generation of parents. They lived a different life. They see things differently. They see food differently. My dad always says that.
I was like, wait, what?
Every time I say sea sauce, I like they see food differently. It's like Red Lobster. What
I don't get it.
do you mean you don't get it? You're joking.
Every time you tell your dad that you see something differently, he says you see food differently.
Sometimes you say you see food differently. It's just like a thing.
Oh, like seafood.
Yeah, like Red Lobster. It's just
Okay,
a
don't
stupid thing.
don't say yeah to me like that's so obvious.
Duh. You don't think about seafood often as much as I do, apparently.
Yeah, I guess not.
But also saying what you need to say to them, especially with family. If you're unhappy with how people are saying things, say something to them.
Yeah, say something.
Yeah. Don't let them think they can just say whatever they want and it doesn't matter to you because then they think you might not
Doesn't
actually
matter to you. Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter to you. So they might actually understand or want to grow if you don't have a conversation with them too. I guess. I don't know. That's a tricky one.
I can answer. I feel like when Trump was first elected, it was such a shock to me. And my mindset was very much like, if you voted for him, if you think this, like, don't talk to me. I was like unfriending people, I was unfollowing people. And maybe I filtered out some people really well back then so that those like types of people aren't really in my social media sphere right now. But I do have like a bit of a different perspective on it now because obviously that MFer got elected again. So I don't think that really was working that well.
At MF.
Yeah, no, our friend's name is Emma. But I'm like, I don't think that did anything. And I do understand that some people are genuinely harmed by their friends or family or whoever's around them's view. If you are genuinely harmed by that, cut it off.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
But like if you are just offended or upset or emotional about those things, then I think it's our responsibility to
Educate.
be a mature person. No, I don't think
Oh.
it's my responsibility to educate because I don't think most people are open to learning.
Mhm.
I think it's our responsibility to be like a mature, especially emotionally mature person to like be resilient to some of those things that they say because yeah, it's like messed up, but I think a lot of people are just ultra sensitive. I do think that. I think some people genuinely are harmed by certain beliefs, and I think that is real. But I think there's a lot of other people who are really just sensitive, and I am too. Like I've definitely gone through things where I've been very sensitive and, either like distanced myself or, unfriended people or whatever. But like now I feel like having a more nuanced understanding of people who do think differently. And I'm not talking about people who are like using hate speech or like saying certain people don't deserve to live or saying that they don't care about people who are being deported. I'm not talking about that because let's be real, like I think there are more people who aren't in that outright hateful category, but who you have very differing political views from.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some room for conversation. I don't think it needs to be like a big thing, but I think a lot of times like comments are way more helpful than trying to dive into like an hour-long debate. I think like making like a statement and like figuring out how to sneak a statement or a piece of information or a statistic or something into things without turning it into a debate is a good way to like ease people into thinking the way that you do.
Also, just being, like you said, emotionally mature, because I think when people feel like attacked, they're not going to listen in
Mhm.
some way,
Yeah.
especially politically right now, because a lot of people's politics are so central to their identity
Yeah.
at this point, which is insane to me. Um,
And I think it's not worth talking about with a
yeah.
good population of people as well. I
Mhm.
I think there are quite a few people who are not open to thinking differently. And if someone is not open to thinking differently, you don't want to waste your breath
It's a lot
on
of
them.
emotional stress to discuss those things.
It's again
So,
like as buzzwordy as it is, but like the boundaries, like is it worth talking
mhm.
about things with them, or to what degree do you talk about things with them? And like,
You could not talk about anything at all.
yeah,
Literally just be like, "This is a no-go for me."
I think a lot of time we can spend more of our energy on like writing or contacting our representatives or donating money to organizations that we think are impactful or volunteering somewhere,
Going to a protest, being part of the movement.
like doing something rather than like being upset about it, which is hard, and there's like a different threshold for everybody. But like there are more actionable things that we can spend our energy on than like trying to speak into the void of like a lot of people who like
Of a
don't really
dad.
care about what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, yeah, it's definitely show the change.
Or just do
You're
it. You
you're
don't even
affecting.
have to show it.
That's what I meant. Like, do it
Yeah.
in real life. Show whoever you're talking to that's like, "No, I take what I say seriously.
Yeah.
I'm doing action." Me just yelling at you to change one person's mind isn't gonna happen. And then it's about doing it to help more people.
Yeah. I agree. Okay.
Next one.
How to maintain long distance friendships.
Mm. This start a
Start
podcast
a podcast.
with your friend.
Literally. No,
No,
I'm just kidding.
I mean it's a great. I think we've talked. I think a lot more
Yeah.
because we do this
Yeah,
than
that
we were before. Not that we're talking like not a lot,
I
but
mean, we really weren't talking a lot. Honestly, like, obviously, I've always wanted to do something like this with you,
Mhm.
but like, a big perk was like, I think like we'll stay in touch more because
Oh,
Katie and
yeah.
I were both pretty busy, like living at our new places and doing lots of things, and the time difference. And so, I mean, I feel like there were sometimes we were talking like maybe once a month or something.
Like, on the phone, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
definitely it's, like, texting, but, like, full on, like,
Uh-huh.
convos. Mhm.
Yeah. So I feel like one, like if it's your best friend, like definitely prioritize them. I think don't put too much pressure on yourself for like all of your friendships because if you're someone who's going to move a lot or they're going to move a lot, it'll change. You're not going to always stay as close to somebody as you were. You're not going to always talk to them as much as you were. But like just setting, you can like set a reminder literally in your
Mhm.
calendar like once a month. Me and my friend Kay have a reminder for the first Sunday of every month to talk. Doesn't always happen, but it's good to just like
Mhm.
set something up so that you don't forget.
Mhm. Yeah. I have a list of everyone's birthdays, and I either call them or text them actively on their birthday, something, so that at least keeps something moving. And then, like, because I think it's one of those things where I forget who I talked to last, because it's usually you
Yeah.
and other people. So I'm like, oh my God, I haven't talked to blah, blah, blah in like a few months. I wonder how they're doing. And then work happens. I'm like, oh, I forgot. And then it's late or something. Like, there's so many reasons why things get pushed. But you have to really put in effort and setting like a calendar reminder or something
Mhm.
to keep things going would help keep that relationship going easier. It's not super easy, but
Yeah.
it's definitely doable.
Yep.
Definitely.
I agree. So, what else? Grocery shopping. I hate grocery
I
shopping.
like grocery shopping.
So, what's your
My
advice?
advice is to live very close to a grocery store. No, for real though.
Yeah.
A walking distance to a grocery store means I probably go to the grocery store every other day because I don't know what I want to eat. It's a 8-minute walk nicely through
What
the.
about people who can't move just so that they can more easily grocery shop?
They can't move,
Yeah, like
like,
someone is
physically.
no,
What
like
do you
say
mean?
I live in a house that's a 20-minute drive from a grocery store.
I was like, oh, they can't go on a walk. Sorry.
I love the one time I'm like, Katie and I speak the same language. We communicate exactly the same, and now we can't understand like simple words the other people
Yeah,
say.
we get the big stuff. No, so like, yeah, so if you don't live walking distance from a grocery store, don't make that like part of your thing. I guess my suggestion would be like make it a routine to like meal plan. That way when you go to the store, you're very intentional because you're gonna be there for a while.
Yeah,
Know exactly what you're gonna get. Maybe coupon, check ahead of time. It's gonna be a lot more effort, I think, if you can't just easily go to one, then maybe going like right after work on the way home or something.
trying to fit it into
Like a specific like
yeah.
Mondays at 4, I go to the grocery store.
Don't
Don't
go
go on
on
a
Mondays at
Monday.
4.
Lie.
I've gone to the grocery store like during a lunch break.
Mhm.
And it's also like you're not even really wasting your time getting lunch because you can pick up lunch there. Um, I keep a note in my phone of like all the things that I typically get. And then you can also add a little section for like in case it's
Mhm.
on sale or
Mhm.
something like that. And that way, like, and then just make it a checkbox. So
Yep.
then you just go, but then you're not deleting, you're just checking
Mhm.
everything off.
I have that too. And then it refreshes every time you type in it'll be like eggs and you're like, "Yes, exactly. That's what I want." That makes it easy.
I just keep mine all written in. I don't have to refresh
Oh,
anything.
well, like on Google Keep, you can like write eggs, and if you check, it'll just disappear. And then we go to like, you can just
I
uncheck
have
it
an
to bring it
iPhone,
back.
so I just do like a note with a checklist,
Oh
so it
my
works really
God,
well.
it's the same thing. It's the same
Katie
thing.
doesn't have an iPhone.
But I like grocery shopping. But also just go to like maybe buy yourself something new every time you go, like a little treat for doing it. Like one time we went to the grocery store with my brother and we bought a freaking Nerf gun. This was
Oh,
last year. This was Christmas.
that was probably like a $25 Nerf
Well,
gun.
that's he bought it. So, but just like something, or get a little ice cream treat. I don't
Yeah, you
know.
could treat
Make it
yourself.
fun for yourself, or do delivery. Deliver your groceries. Instacart.
Yeah. I was doing online ordering like from like Whole Foods and Publix, and then I was like, there is no way this shit is that expensive. at the grocery store. I think they like hike up the prices
do.
online.
And the
So
fees.
now I'm anti doing that. I guess unless it's really convenient for you or you don't mind it, but groceries are expensive.
They are. Yeah, they ain't getting cheaper, y'all. But make it just cute.
Work-life balance. My life is way more important than work. That means that I do my job above average, but I'm not like signing up for things that are going to put me over the edge and like make me in a bad mood or like start like affecting like my mental health. Everyone has a different threshold for that, but I do really well at my job so that I can feel good about stopping work when I'm supposed to stop work and then do anything else that I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had a problem with work-life balance, really. I think maybe like if you're working weird schedules, like not like a 9 to 5,
Like a food and bev schedule.
it could be a lot more difficult. And my answer to that is like a routine is very important. So like anytime I've been unemployed too, I have like a very strict routine, and it just like helps structure your day and make sure that you're doing the things that you need and like the things that you want.
Mm-hmm.
What's your advice?
I agree with you about work not being my one and all. I'm not paid enough to work as much as I think they
What would
would.
you need to be paid for
I
it
don't
to be your
know.
one and
A
all?
fuck ton.
Name a number.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Name a number.
$300,000.
Okay.
So like work more than 40 hours a week. I mean, I do every
Well,
once in a while if a
you're definitely
project's
gonna
really
work.
tight.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna work more
Well,
than
at
40
the
hours a
same
week.
time, I think it just comes down to work is a necessity and I need it to make money, but I'm using work to make the life that I want. And my life isn't to continue to work. My life is to make money so that I can go on trips and like do
To
all these fun
Atlanta.
things. Yeah. And or international or whatever, to live the life that I want. It's a means to an end. And I obviously I want to work in a place that I enjoy. I feel like people might have a rougher work-life balance if they hate their job, you know.
Yeah, I'm not like a work as a priority because as cliche as it is, but you always hear like on people's deathbeds, no one is like, I wish I worked more. I wish I didn't take vacation. I wish I had more money in my bank when I'm on my deathbed. No one said
Mhm.
that.
No. You're not you're
Literally.
not a doctor. I mean, if you are a doctor, then you kind of have to work, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like this isn't life or death.
Y'all use common sense. We're not talking about you if you're a
We know there are some
surgeon,
doctors out here.
if you're an ER surgeon, if you're a firefighter.
Mhm. I do spreadsheets. Those spreadsheets can wait till Monday.
Katie, your boss is listening to this.
Good. This spreadsheet's waiting.
Okay, we have one last question.
Okay.
Advice on buying a house and how to not freak out about grown-up shit.
Oh my God, I don't have a house.
I know. It's the perfect question for us because neither of us have bought a house.
Find someone who's bought a house because I have
Yes.
friends who've bought houses and they talk to me about all of it. I just don't know what they're saying.
I would say talk to somebody who's bought a house and seems like they spend money in a way that you are comfortable with.
Mhm.
I would say like lots of people buy houses in lots of different ways based on things that I've heard. And you want to aim for someone who's probably like a little bit more financially responsible than you are. You don't want to aim for someone so financially responsible that like you're unrelatable to them, but you want to get advice from someone who's like a little bit better at something than you are, is my advice. And then not freaking up about grown up shit. I feel like nothing is really grown up shit these days because the older we get, we realize we feel the exact same. So everyone is just doing stuff and it just seems grown up. But my same advice, like, I don't think most things are permanent. And a lot of times there's not like a bad decision.
Mhm. Like,
Sometimes there is, but not always.
I mean, there's the basics like make sure you pay your bills, like those responsibilities that you have.
We can
But
ask Ryan. He just walked in about buying a house.
yeah.
Ryan, What advice do you have about buying a house? You can come up here for a second if you want. That's okay. I can just hand you the mic and you won't be on camera. We're not allowed to show men on camera anyway.
Yeah, it's illegal here.
Someone just asked for advice on buying a house. So what advice would you give them? Like, what do you wish you wish you knew looking back that you didn't know?
I don't know. I'm pretty like down about like people being able to afford houses these days. It's like so much money. Interests are so high.
So don't buy a house right now.
I don't know. But no, I think go for it. Because like I honestly feel like inflation is one of these things that's kind of killing people right now, and it's only going to get worse for a number of reasons. And it's better to have assets than it is to have cash just sitting in the bank, like losing value. So yeah, I do it.
So do it, but like what advice would you have?
Yeah, just don't get too crazy and like aim for something too much out of your comfort zone because then it's going to cause a lot of stress on
Don't try to
you know.
flex on people. Just like do something, yeah.
Yeah, because it'll have like a lot of spillover effects on just like work stress and everything. Like what happens if you sign your mortgage and then the next week your boss kind of hints to you that your job might be gone, right? Like you need to have some level of comfort that you can like get out of that mortgage without like going too far in debt at some point. So yeah, just don't get too crazy, I'd say.
Anything else?
Oh, another thing was like the down payment. I believe it's called PMF. PMI. Yeah. Avoid PMI. It's just a waste of money.
Thank you.
Thank you. From the one person who just bought a house.
That was hot. Also, like, happy for everyone who's bought like a very, very nice house. But like, I will say, like, as a friend or like as someone who visits people's houses, like, I'm not judging someone's house. I'm not like going there being like, oh, they bought that small of a house. Or I'm not going to someone's house and being like, damn, like they're the coolest people I've ever met because they bought like a really expensive house. Like I feel like we do lots of things to flex, and I think it puts people in a lot like of financially binding situations when they buy like a super expensive house. It's like you can always like upgrade later in life if you wanted to. That's my 5 cents.
Yeah, don't flex. Be responsible. This is very expensive. This isn't like a purse. This is hundreds
And you
of
want
thousands of
being able
dollars.
to enjoy life a little. So yeah, don't be
Again,
house poor.
take all this advice from people who don't own property.
We literally don't. Actually, I technically kind of do.
Wow.
But I didn't buy it.
Wow.
I inherited $1 million house.
Perfect. Must be nice. But just be responsible. Don't go out of your means. Make a budget. If you don't have a budget, make a budget.
Sell feet pics. I got Katie those socks.
I know. All right, I think that's all of our advice right now.
We need to close because we have plans.
All right, before we officially close, I want to ask one question that I think is, what's the best advice you've probably gotten? Or something that sticks out to you? To end on like a general wham note.
Best advice I've ever received. I think, I don't know that I would consider this like advice.
That's okay.
But I would say there's 2 things that my grandpa said that have stuck with me. Obviously, I loved this band, so these things stuck with me. But one was that a marriage is the hardest job you'll ever have. So I feel like that set me up with like realistic expectations, and also understanding that like relationships are a job. Like you have to show up, you have to do things sometimes you don't want to do, like do the laundry, wash the dishes, but also to enjoy life. So like 2 very different pieces of advice, and they're very generic, like very simple, but I feel like those 2 things stuck with me, and I think they're very important.
Well, I think the generic advice is probably the best advice because it's so applicable in so many situations.
Except for don't worry, be happy. That's not good generic advice.
No. Yeah, no, you should probably worry about a couple things.
Yeah.
But realistically, I think mine is something my dad said that I always tell people. whenever people feel like unsure about things, which I listen to it myself, but whatever.
Do you?
I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I usually don't because I don't think about it. But this is when I was like in a really shitty job I didn't like, and I eventually got fired. I got fired.
Wired. Hired
Yeah,
and fired.
fired. I got fired, and I hated it. My dad was like, every time I saw him, he's like, "When you leaving?" I was like, "I want to stay here for a year. I need to put in my dues, but I'm crying on the way home," kind of thing. And when I finally got laid off, he was sort of just like, "Well, if you don't do something that you know you need to do, the universe is going to make that decision for you, and you might not like what happens." AKA, I could have left at any moment for a different job because I knew I hated it, and I wouldn't have been fired, then not be able to get employment, all these other things that happened because I didn't take that agency on my own. So I've told a few people that when it comes up in like making certain decisions.
I tell people that too.
It's a great one. Bob's got some hitters every once in a while. And then he says seafood differently.
I don't like it.
It's all about perspectives. So yeah, I think those are some of our best advices. We hope
Advices. Yeah.
We hope that you've, I don't know, maybe learned something or
leave a comment on our Spotify or YouTube about your favorite piece of advice that you've ever received.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's important to tell as many people all your advice as possible.
Yeah, don't shut up about it.
Honestly, though.
Give unsolicited advice.
That's what this is. No, this was for purely solicited.
Yeah. If you tap play, you wanted it.
Mm-hmm. But yes. Just lean on your friends, the people that you love and respect, and it will only be good for you.
That's not true.
That's not true. God damn it. I'm trying to be.
It will be best. That will be best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean bad things won't happen. No, I'm just saying, like, you said it will only be good.
Oh,
you'll only have good things happen, basically.
No.
That's not true. Thanks for listening to this episode. Make sure you follow us on TikTok at Life in the Party Pod.
Yes.
Instagram at Life in the Party. And
YouTube at Life in the Party.
YouTube at Life in the Party.
Mm-hmm. We're here for you.
Leave comments on our YouTube videos, guys. Let us know what you love about it, what you hate about it, what you love about us, what you hate about us. Okay? Thanks. Bye.
Bye.